Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, all praises and double honors due to Yahweh by Hashem HaMashiach or Malak Yahushai. Secondly, Brother Yardan, W5 Detroit coming back at you with the end of the cold cut. Before I dive into this video and the title, I want to first salute the brothers and sisters that are scattered throughout the four corners of this world, laboring day in and day out, fasting, praying, reading, studying, giving alms and charity, anything to magnify the name of the Lord and bring forth fruits, meet for repentance. So all praises, the Most High is looking at your works, and your labor is not in vain, which coincidentally ties into the topic of the video, which is titled Officeship. Now here's the definition of officeship. It reads this: Officeship refers to the state position or role of holding an office, especially in a military, government, or organizational context. It encompasses the responsibilities, duties, and authority associated with a specific office or position of leadership. Now, whether you're in a camp or not, you still have to uphold some degree of office for the Most High. The Most High may simply want you to perform this amount of many prayers and this amount of many readings and this amount of many fasts, whatever the quota may be, the Most High is requiring that of you. Because you have to understand that this requires labor. Now, in 1 Corinthians 15 and 58, it reads this: Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. And so we're called to perform some sort of labor. That's what we're called to do. Certain men in the world, they're called to be a firefighter. Other men and women are called to be a harlot. Some men are called to be a pimp. Other men are called to be a gangbanger. But the Lord has called us into this truth first and foremost. And what's next? In this truth, you may be called into a certain office, into a certain task to fulfill, or a certain role to fulfill. And that role and or task requires a certain level of skill sets. And or if the Most High just simply sees fit, he may just call you into this role without those certain skill sets that your average man may need. So let's get an example. Matthew chapter 4, verse 18. This is the account of Yahushua running to the first apostles. Now remember, Yahushua, he could have called anybody. He could have called the chief lawmasters and the people at the synagogues. He called a lot of them, but yet he called fishers. So let's read the account. Matthew chapter 4, verse 18. And Yahushua, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw two brethren, Simon called Peter, and Andrew, his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers. And he said unto them, Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And so here in this account, we find that Yahushua, who the world may ignorantly call Jesus Christ, he sees two fishers, and he calls them forth. And straightway, well, let's keep reading. Verse 20, and straightway left their nets and followed him. And that's what they did. They left their nets and everything, fishing equipment, and followed him immediately. And so what we can gather from this, of course, is multifold. One thing we can gather is that whatever skill set or trade that you may have had in this world prior to coming deep into this truth, that can be translated. Because Yahushua said, look, you're fishers. Now you're going to be fishers of men. What are some things that's transferable? What are skills that's transferable? Being a fisher, not being a fisher of men. Well, one, for an example, is understanding the fish and knowing what's the best bait to use. So for an example, all fish have certain characteristics. Some fish come out at night, others at day, this certain hour. Other fish like the shimmering bait, other fish like this type of bait. And so it is with man. Man is referred to as beast, and what's a fish but a beast? And so certain men, they may need or require certain bait to really be pulled into this truth. That's why it reads in Jude, some you have to save with fear, and others you have to have compassion. And so with man, there's a certain way in particular fashion that you speak to everyone. That's using a particular bait and understand a fish, which is your audience. And so I just wanted to really put a magnifying glass over this account, because in its truth, a lot of men are gifted with certain skills and talents, whether it be photography, exhortation, I don't know, technology, anything in between of anything that can be utilized to magnify the name of the Lord. I mean, that's your gift. So these men, they were fishers. Now they're fishers of men. You may have been a poet in a world. Now you can translate to eloquently writing down breakdowns in a certain fashion or particular way and or order. So you have to understand that the Most High called these men into this truth. Peter and Andrew, they didn't sign an application to say, Lord, are you hiring? No, they were called into this truth. Let's bring that out in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1. I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you, that ye walk worthy in the vocation wherewith ye were called. Now, what's a vocation? Vocation, a strong feeling or suitability for a particular career or occupation. So what's our occupation? It's serving the Lord. It's being in the field, right, spiritually speaking. We're husbandmen in so many words. That's what the Lord called us to do, which is why he said, hate not laborer's work, because your walk in this truth is going to be very laborious. And if you find yourself in a camp, and being a male at that, you're going to see yourself in a scorching sun or in a blizzarding, freezing cold. And you may have to, well, not may have to, you have to fast and put your body into subjection, which is really afflicting your soul and your flesh. So you're going to find yourself doing some uncomfortable things that you're not really familiar with. You're going to find yourself doing things that are strange to the heathen. But it's righteous to the Most High, and it's good for you. So this is the book of Sirach, chapter 7, verse 15. Hate not laborer's work, neither husbandry, which the Lord Most High hath ordained. Now, husbandry is known, it's famous for being laborious, toilsome work. You use your hand, you got to bend down, your back hurts, you're in the sun, the elements, there's flies, there's beasts. You got to look around, there's people that's not doing a job, people that's doing a job. It requires so much, all of your attention and all your muscles, your entire body, if you will. So it's laborious. But at the same time, the Lord said, hate not laborer's work, because that's the most fitting way to describe this truth. Using your entire body and being super aware and vigilant of your surroundings. But again, this is what the Most High ordained. Now, this is the definition of ordained. It signifies, it primarily refers to the formal act of being invested with ministerial or priestly authority through a religious ceremony. It signifies being made a member of the clergy, often involving a specific rite, like the laying on of hands. Ordained can mean to establish order, something by a decree or law. Right? Spit out the bones, chew the meat. Understand that it's ultimately called by a higher power. That higher power being Yahweh Basham Yahushai. He called us into this certain field, into this line of work. The same way Paul said, what? I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation. So we have to walk worthy in what the Most High have called us to do. Whether that be you at camp holding a sign, perhaps you're the treasurer and you have to keep an account and record of the money that's going in and out, as well as the paperwork. Or perhaps you're a photographer and now you have the snapshots of the camp on big feast days, or perhaps do some promotional work. Whatever, regardless of your gift, your talent is, it has to be magnified and you have to walk worthy in it. Worthy meaning you have to be trustworthy, you have to be trusted. You have to hold yourself accountable, meaning you have to you're responsible for your actions, right? Whether it's be success or failure made in your office. So you have to be accountable. There's duties and responsibilities that come with every office. Let's read some duties and roles in Romans 12, and then I'll get some real examples in the scriptures. Romans chapter 12, verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. That's your service, that you make your body a living sacrifice. Anything that's sacrificed, typically within this proper context, anything sacrificed is given unto the Lord. And in most cases, in the ancient world, you offer a sacrifice with fire, meaning you burn it. So burning that fire, that flame, is that uncomfortability, but it's all for a greater purpose. So you have to present your body as a living sacrifice. You have to undergo certain uncomfortabilities being in this truth. So perhaps, let's say on Friday nights in the world, that was the day you went to the movies, you shopped, you got extra work you wanted to get done. Now you can't do that. Now you have to make your body a sacrifice for the ministry of God, for the church of the Most High God. That's your life now. And that may be uncomfortable to you. It may be an inconvenience. But if the Most High gave this talent, who are you to complain? So what? Who cares? The Most High, your Creator, gave you a talent and or a gift. And if you don't like, the Most High can easily take it away from you the same way He freely gave it unto you. So you have to ask yourself every day, do I enjoy my office? Is this what I really want? Now, you can decline it, but, most cases, brothers that decline their office, it doesn't fare well with them. Things don't really work out the way it should with them and the Most High, because the Most High called you to do that. If your manager called you in at 3 o'clock p.m. to be in the office, it's not an option. He's not giving you do you want to come in? Maybe, perhaps. Do you have time in your schedule? He's calling you to come in. Another way of saying I'm calling you to do it is me telling you to do it. If your parents say, hey, come in this room, your parents, hey, I'm calling for you. It's not an option. He's requesting, he's telling you to come into their room. And so it is with the Most High God. So you don't want to turn down what the Most High called you to do, which is why it reads, you got to walk worthy in your vocation. Let me get this real quick in the book of John. 10:27. My sheep hear my voice and know them. It's like, and I know them, and they followed me. The same way Peter and Andrew followed him straightway. So should it be easily for you. So if, let's say, regardless of the camp, whatever, let's just say a camp, they have a call every other day for the scribes. Ultimately, you may think of it as, oh, that's just man. Man said this and man said that. Really, Most High set it up. It's not the Most High setting up everything. Did not the Most High set up Exodus 18? We'll get that shortly. Most High set up order, structure, and rank. Hell, even in Esau's world in his captivity, there's structure. There's the president, you got the judicial, the executive, the legislative branch, you got the governor, you got the senator, you got the mayor, you got the chief of police official, you got state troopers. There's order and structure and rank. In each structure, they have to maintain a certain skill set, and they have to carry responsibilities. And if it's not being fulfilled, they get the boot, which is what some of our forefathers received while not upholding their office with dignity. So let's get to the book of Romans chapter 12. Let's jump down to verse 4. For as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office. So we're all one body, but we're going to have different offices. Your arm doesn't have the same office as your leg. Your ear doesn't have the same duties as your toes. And your tongue, sure as hell, doesn't have the same responsibility as your eyes. And in some cases, some may say your eyes carry more responsibility and carry more importance than your tongue. But nevertheless, understand that there's certain offices. And regardless of whatever office you may call or think it's better than another. And we are one body. Even a tongue and a pinky toe, even your earlobe serves a purpose. You may be thinking, what does the earlobe serve? Well, brother, look it up. Look it up, brother. I'm sure it serves a purpose. Most High made it for a reason. You understand? Your eyelashes serve a purpose to keep things out of your eye. Your hair in your head serves a purpose. That's why, traditionally, man is made with hair for a reason. You may be thinking, what are my eyebrows for, Rock? Or what are my toenails for? Everything serves a purpose, right? I'm not diving into the anatomy of the body and the specific need and role for it. Just realize that's the comparison that Paul is making and writing to the church, that we're all one body and the entire body serves a purpose. As well as the church. Reading on to verse, for the sake of time, verse 6. Having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us. Right? So it's by the grace of Most High, the lot was cast into our lap, pursuing Proverbs 16:33, that man has the gift of this, or that, or this, or that. So it reads again. Having then the gifts according to the grace that is given to us, whether prophecy, let us prophesy, according to the propitiation of faith. So you got faith, or ministry, let us wait on our ministering, or he that teacheth on teaching, or he that exhorteth on exhortation. He that giveth, let him do it with simplicity. He that ruleth with diligence. He that sheweth mercy with cheerfulness. Let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil, cleave to that which is good. So there are certain traits that you have to have as well, being in a particular office. You have to hate evil. You have to eschew good judgment. You understand? You have to be trustworthy, as I mentioned before. There's that expectation, that standard of you. And it also reads in verse 11, not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer. Because you're going to encounter hell being in an office. I don't want to say hell as in like, oh man, you're going to get beat up and it's going to be the worst ever. No, what I'm saying is that Satan is not going to stop you. Yahushua is the King of Kings. He's the Lord of Lords. Wasn't he tempted? I mean, men in certain offices, they're going to be tempted. Wasn't Joseph tempted? Doesn't mean, and I don't mean in a way that, he was falling for, he was like this, and he kind of blushing. I don't mean like that. I mean, spirits are going to tempt you. So Joseph was tempted in a high office. Men are tempted in high offices. Peter was tempted in a high office. The Lord said, upon you, I will build my church. You are my rock. So men in offices, they're also often tempted. And you have to be prepared. And so you can't be slothful in your business. Here you are being a scribe and you send out a breakdown once a month. You just feeding Jake just one little scoop of knowledge a month. Or here you are being a treasurer and you just sitting on all the money like a king. Just sitting on it. Ignoring all the requests, just sitting on it, just to look at it. Just holding the money. You don't want to be that guy. And the same goes for men in leadership positions. If there's certain roles that you have to fulfill, same goes for myself. You can't just put on the back burner and, okay, my world, my life revolves around, it's like, yeah, this truth revolves around my life. Here I am in the center, and this is the truth. No, it's the other way around, where it's the truth and your life revolves around it. But sometimes men forget that, thinking men set up men in positions. It was ultimately the Most High. He built it all. This is Exodus 18 and verse 20. Moreover, thou shalt provide, I'll get 22. No, I'll get, 8, let me see. It's all good. I get 20. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shalt shew them the way wherein they must walk, and the work that they must do. Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men hating covetousness, and place such over them to be rulers of thousands. So some men was ruler over thousands, and rulers of hundreds, and rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens. And let them judge the people at all seasons, meaning all year round. There's 4 seasons, so all year round. And it shall be that every great matter they shall bring unto thee, but every small matter they shall judge. So shall it be easier for thyself, and they shall bear the burden with thee. And that's what the church is. The church, it levies out and it spreads out the amount of burdens so everything is equal. It's a just balance, if you will. So even with the deacons, let's get 1 Timothy 3:8. Second Timothy. Likewise, that must the deacons be grave. It's not talking about being in a grave and being in a cemetery, but being serious, austere, not double-tongued, not given to much wine, not greedy of filthy lucre. So that was the standard of a deacon. Now, that doesn't mean that a deacon is the only person on the face of the earth that should hold himself to such standards, but it's just really, putting the magnifying glass upon a deacon and how much light he's going to receive. Therefore, don't have these attributes. But on the other side of the coin, a man in the world that's not a deacon, he can give himself too much wine. He can do that. He shouldn't, but he could do that. But a deacon, he can't do it. Holding the mystery of faith in a pure conscience. And let these also first be proved. Then let them use the office of a deacon, being found blameless. So there's a proving process, right? You can't just wake up and say, I want to be a mayor. You need to know politics. You need to understand the terminology and the jargon that politicians used. You need to know the world of politics. You can't just wake up and be a politician. In the same way, you can't just wake up and be a deacon. Now, in the ancient world, unless the Most High just cast a lot and it just fell upon you, and he slowly grows you into that position, all praises. But on a carnal level, even on this side of the world, you can't just do whatever you want, man. You can't just wake up and say, I'm gonna have my own camp. It doesn't work like that. You can't just wake up and do whatever you want. This isn't The Sims. This isn't GTA, where you get to do whatever the hell you want. Right? You got to prove yourself. Even men are proved prior to being in certain positions. And men are seen of other men. Men sees everything damn near. Damn near, because we're not the Most High God. Only the Most High can see everything. That's Hebrews, if I'm not mistaken, 4:13 on down. So let's get another precept. 1 Corinthians 12:28. Let's see if this is what I want. Yeah, 1 Corinthians 12:25. That there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care one for another. And whether one member suffer, all the members suffer with it. Or one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it. Now ye are in the body of Christ, and members in particular. And God hath set some in the church, first apostles, secondarily prophets, thirdly teachers, after that miracles, then gifts of healing, then governments, diversities of tongues. So the governments could perhaps be certain administrative, if I'm saying that word correctly, certain administrative rights, or still like it, certain administrative positions, such as judging certain matters. You have certain judges within a church, and they may not all have been Levi, but you have certain men judging certain basic matters. Some camps have lieutenants, other camps have sergeants today, and they all have to exercise some type of duty. But nevertheless, remember, I mean, whatever position you're in, you're moving in the body of Christ through the Spirit. You're moving in the body with the other offices. Let's get let me get the book of Numbers. We'll wind it down maybe like 2 to 3 more verses. Numbers 16 to 33. It's a good one. Let's see what I want. Let's see which one. I start at verse 31. And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground clave asunder that was under them, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that were appointed unto Korah, and all their goods. They and all their appointed to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. So, side point, Most High can just remove you from certain positions, but that's the reason why I brought that out. Most High can easily remove you from a position and remove your name. Oh no, this is actually what I wanted. Still a good precept. It was 3 and 36. Yeah, this is what I wanted. 3 and 35. Sorry, 33. Of Merari was the family of the Malites, and the family of the Mushites. These are the families of Merari. And those that were numbered of them, according to the number of all the males from a month old and upward, were 6,200. So there was a census being done. And the chief of the house, the fathers of the families of Merari, was Zorel, the son of Abali. These shall pitch on the side of the tabernacle northward, and under the custody and charge of the sons Merari shall be the boards of the tabernacle, and the bars thereof, and the pillars thereof, and the sockets thereof, and all the vessels thereof, and all that serveth thereunto, and the pillars of the court round about, and their sockets, and their pins, and their cords. But those that were encamped before the tabernacle toward the east, even before the tabernacle of the congregation eastward, shall be Moses and Aaron and his sons, keeping the charge of the sanctuary for the charge of the children of Israel. And the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. So you had certain men guarding the sanctuary. You had certain men carrying the pillars, other men carrying the sockets. But nevertheless, every man had their certain position and duty fulfilled. And best believe if they didn't fulfill it, they're going to get that Korah treatment. They're going to be swallowed up, right? Whether it be physically or spiritually, and have their talent be removed. Let's get Exodus 31. 2 more precepts, Lord willing. Exodus 31 and 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I have called by the name Bezaleel, the son of Uri. And again, the Lord have called him. He didn't give him an option. He called him. The Most High is always calling men. He may call men appointed unto death. Look at in Acts. Let me get that real quick. Acts the 5th chapter. But certain men named Ananias with Sapphira his wife sold a possession, and kept the back part of the price, his wife also being privy to it, and bought a certain part, and laid it at the apostles' feet. But Peter said, Ananias, why hath Satan called thine heart to lie to the Holy Ghost, and to keep back part of the price of land? And so, prior to that council, best believe Ananias, he was called unto death pretty much. Once you continue to read the chapter, spoiler alert, he was called unto death. So certain men are called unto death. Other men are called to certain offices. That's how you know this life isn't ours. wake up, and then 5 hours later they die. You have no control whether they're going to live or die. Men are called into certain things. You may be called into the office. You may be called into this gas station at this point in time. That's why man's goings are of the Lord. So even as it is with Uriah, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, and I have filled him with the Spirit of God in wisdom and in understanding and in knowledge and in all manner of workmanship, to devise cunning works, to work in gold and in silver and with brass, and in the cutting of stones to set them, and the carving of timber to work in all manner of workmanship. So the Most High, he sets and appoints man's gifts, talents, according to his grace and his will. So I'll close out with this. Proverbs 16. And 33. And it reads, the lot is cast into the lap, but the whole disposing thereof is of the Lord. So even as it is with Aaron's sons, which reads this, and Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took hither of them his censer, and put fire therein, and put incense thereon, and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not. So when you're not listening, and where you're not fulfilling your roles and your duties in your office, this is what the Lord did to them. And there went out a fire from the Lord and devoured them. They died before the Lord. So that's what happened when you don't fulfill your office. You die before the Lord. He calls you to do something, and not to do it is disrespect. And that's another form of hate. So with that, Abba Ratazah, Israel has been edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. With that, Shalom.